Almost 2 weeks ago, the Ukrainian forces achieved a tactical breach in southern Ukraine. Following months of fierce fighting, the Ukrainian success in the vicinity of Robotyne and Verbove in the Zaporizhzhia Oblast has raised Kyiv's hopes for an operational breakthrough in the sector. To prevent that, the Russian military is launching one counterattack after the other in an attempt to dislodge the Ukrainian forces and plug the gap before it's too late. Russian tunnels and counterattacks in Ukraine. The Ukrainian forces continue to push hard in the Zaporizhzhia Oblast, looking to achieve an operational breakthrough. However, they have to deal with constant Russian counterattacks. Russian forces are conducting tactical counterattacks in the Robotyne area as part of their elastic defense against ongoing Ukrainian offensive operations in western Zaporizhzhia Oblast, the Institute for the Study of War assessed in its latest operational estimate on the war. There is heavy fighting going on in the sector. During one counterattack, the Ukrainian 116th Mechanized Brigade destroyed 5 Russian infantry fighting vehicles. According to Ukrainian soldiers on the ground, the Russian forces used tunnels to mount counterattacks against captured trenches. The situation south of Robotyne is fluid as some tactically significant field fortifications have changed hands several times, the Institute for the Study of War added. The elastic defense concept has allowed the Russian forces to recapture lost territory soon after the Ukrainians took it. Both sides are also using suicide drones to harass enemy infantry. Although the Russian forces are using electronic warfare methods to interfere with the Ukrainian drones and prevent them from causing extensive damage, they often fail. In the intense fighting, both sides are suffering significant losses. Russian casualties in Ukraine. Meanwhile, on the ground on day 586 of the Kremlin's special military operation in Ukraine, the Russian military and pro-Russian separatist forces took significant casualties. Over the past 24 hours, the Russian forces lost a bit over 500 men killed, wounded, or captured, bringing the daily number of casualties on par with the conflict average. For about a week, the Russian daily casualties dropped significantly, in some days even reaching a wartime low, suggesting that the Ukrainians were consolidating their gains in southern Ukraine before making another push. However, the Russian military's artillery losses have continued to be extremely high. Over the past 48 hours alone, the Russian forces have lost more than 80 artillery guns and multiple launch rocket systems. Footage circulating online appears to show a Ukrainian fighter clearing a jammed gun during a firefight with Russian forces in eastern Ukraine. The video clip, which has emerged on social media, shows the first-person perspective of what looks to be a Ukrainian soldier in a trench, struggling to use his firearm before successfully unjamming his rifle and returning fire at an out-of-shot enemy. Newsweek couldn't independently verify this footage, and the Ukrainian General Staff has been approached for comment via email. The video may have been filmed around the Ukrainian city of Kreminna, which was captured by Russian forces in the eastern Donbass region, encompassing Ukraine's annexed Luhansk and Donetsk oblasts, in April 2022. Ukraine's counteroffensive, which has slowly been pushing back at Russian control in southern and eastern Ukraine since early June, has largely focused on the Donetsk and Zaporizhzhia regions. But fighting has continued on the front line in Luhansk, sweeping down from Kupiansk to the border with the Donetsk region. Kreminna lies east of the current front lines in eastern Ukraine, around 14 miles from the constantly adjusting front on the western edge of Luhansk. Captain Ilya Yevlash, a spokesperson for Ukraine's eastern grouping of forces, said on Sunday that Russia's 25th Combined Arms Army had taken up positions near Kreminna, and now numbered 17,000 personnel. Ukraine's spy chief, Major General Kyrylo Budanov, said earlier this month that the 25th Combined Arms Army had around 15,000 men filling its newly created ranks. The 25th Combined Arms Army was deployed to Kreminna to hold the line, rather than conduct offensive actions, the spokesperson said, in remarks reported by Ukrainian media. The Combined Arms Army is deployed piecemeal, along the hotspots of fighting in eastern Ukraine to reinforce the overstretched line, the UK Defence Ministry said in an intelligence update posted to social media on September 27. With the units of the 25th Combined Arms Army scattered across the front line, Russia is unlikely to be able to launch a coherent new offensive in the next few weeks, the UK government added last week. Although concrete information around the capabilities of the 25th Combined Arms Army is murky, it is likely, severely understaffed, or poorly trained, much like Russian units mobilized against Ukraine's previous counteroffensive in the fall of 2022, the U.S. defense think tank, the Institute for the Study of War, said on September 1. In mid-September, the British Defense Ministry said soldiers from the 25th Combined Arms Army were likely in Ukraine for the first time, concentrated in the Luhansk region. The new units had probably been rushed into action early, the UK government said on September 13. The units began moving into Ukraine in late August, according to Western intelligence, which is months ahead of the December 2023 deployment thought to have been originally planned. Russia's Battle Group South repelled 8 Ukrainian attacks in Bakhmut and Avdiivka areas in Donetsk Oblast, with Ukraine's losses exceeding 300 servicemen, the Battle Group spokesman said on Monday. Battle Group South units have repelled 8 attacks by Ukrainian assault groups in the Bakhmut and Avdiivka areas. The enemy's losses amounted to more than 300 servicemen, 1 Krav self-propelled artillery system, a D-20 weapon, 2 tanks, a mechanized infantry fighting vehicle, 2 STRELA-10 anti-aircraft missile launchers, a signals intelligence station, as well as 7 vehicles and 8 drones, spokesman Georgy Minisashvili said as cited by state news agency TASS. He added that missile forces and artillery attacked 3 Ukrainian ammunition depots in Krasnohorivka, Bilohorivka and Kramatorsk, as well as troops of the 24th Mechanized Brigade's unit near Zerzhinsk. The battle group in joint efforts with Russian military aviation destroyed a hangar with Ukrainian military equipment in the Donetsk area. Operational tactical aviation of the group eliminated a hangar with military equipment. Army aviation destructed a temporary deployment site of the 110th Mechanized and the 79th Air Assault Brigades of the Ukrainian Army in Novomykhailivka and Avdiivka, Minisashvili said. He added that the teams of Solnsepyuk heavy flamethrower systems hit the stronghold of the 54th Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Army near the settlement of Verkhny Kamenskoye in the Donetsk. The General Staff of Ukraine's Armed Forces reported on October 2 that Russia had lost 279,080 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion on Feb. 24, 2022. This number includes 510 casualties Russian forces suffered just over the past day.